the most fun videos I've made so far is when I used only shiny Pokemon in Legends Arceus, but this video has actually been in the works since March, 4 whole months before my Legends Arceus video even began. Seeing the amount of support on my previous video has inspired me to actually complete this run though. However, this will not be the most traditional shiny only video. This will be one that uses many different methods of shiny hunting throughout multiple generations of Pokemon games, so I hope that you will stick around to see what I'm talking about. But without further ado, let's get into the video. A Pokemon Badge Quest is a challenge run that involves you collecting all of the gym badges in the Pokemon game. However, you have to collect a shiny Pokemon before each gym battle. I really don't know much of the rules of this since I'm not really involved in the shiny hunting community. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything about it, but these are the rules I've decided to go for this run. Before starting the game, I was given the option between Turtwig, Chimchar, and Piplup, but seeing the time it takes to encounter one of these gave me the inspiration to hunt for another Pokemon that could be my starter in this game, a shiny Trico. But how I did this was using the Masuda method in Pokemon Sword and Shield, and when the time came when Pokemon Home connectivity was enabled, I put this right in the game. I actually got a genuine reaction to the shiny, and here's the clip.
Bored. Oh! Shiny. Ah, nice. Oh, that's nice. I'm surprised. That was pretty fast, actually.
This is also my first on-camera shiny Pokemon, so that makes this Trico a little bit special in my opinion. But doing this hunt meant that I should select Turtwig just to make the game fair. But after doing this, I sped past the entirety of the beginning of the game, including defeating Work on my first try, even though Trico has not learned any Grass-type moves at this point, and reaching level 10 meant that he would not obey me until I get my next gym badge. So knowing this, I set out on what I didn't know would be my longest shiny hunt so far. Since the beginning of this run, I knew I wanted to use a Crobat since I've literally never used one in my many years of playing Pokemon. So after looking up Zubat spawn rates in different areas, Ravaged Path would give me the best chance of getting one. Since I am not a traditional shiny hunter, my attention span is like a goldfish, so I'll need to be occupied completely while doing the shiny hunt. Because of this, I watch movies and television shows to pass the time, but that wasn't helping because I was getting tired of running around in circles for 30 in-game hours. So that's when I decided to try SOS encounters in Sun and Moon for the first time. Here's a quick explanation for this. If you do not knock out the Pokemon you're battling in these games, that's the chance to call for help and spawn a second Pokemon and increase shiny odds. And if you get a Pokemon with the ability Harvest or Skill Swap a Harvest onto a Pokemon, along with the Lepa Berry, you can ensure that this Pokemon will not be knocked out and you can continuously do encounters until you run a PP. PP. Using this method meant I could encounter Zubats in my left hand while doing these Sun and Moon encounters in my right hand, and after about an hour or so, I got a shiny in one of these games. And because of what Crobat looks like, I named this Bubblegum.
I was not expecting this one. Oh, it's a guy. Cool.
Moving on in the story, I skipped the notorious Eternal Forest shiny hunt and to take down Gardenia because I have a certain yellow rat line in mind to add to my team. Well, technically it's orange for the sake of this run, but I found that this rat spawns in the Trophy Garden near Hearthome City, but you have to take the long way through Pastoria City, and while this won't stop me from getting this rat, something else will. You see, after reaching Eternal City, you can get the Pokeradar if you completed the Sinnoh Pokédex, and by doing a little bit of pre-gaming before the run began, I was actually able to get this. While you're meant to chain for Pokemon using this method to increase your shiny odds, I used what option was a little bit more risky, but an efficient method in my opinion, of just taking 50 steps, going into the grass, and pressing the plus button. And while that sounds bad, it technically increases your shiny odds by 4 times since you get 4 encounters at it once, and don't have to encounter any Pokemon. So 20 minutes in, I actually found my first shiny patch.
Okay guys, I just got a random shiny just by doing no odds for this. Let's see what it is. Ooh, I'm excited. Hopefully it's Pikachu. Ah, come on. Really? I've already used one of these. Ah, come on.
Sadly, I didn't get the right one and instead got Raider Sad, the Storavia. And by my self-imposed rules, I have to move on with the story. But on a side note, I will actually be giving this away in the future, so if you want to stay up to date, please consider following my Twitter for more behind the scenes on videos, because I'm going to start trying to get involved in the Pokemon community a lot more. When I defeated Crasher Wake and got my 3rd gym badge, I decided to reclaim this orange mouse with a little bit more preparation to ensure I got better odds of it showing up. How I did this was putting a Pokemon that knew static in the front of my party and changing the in-game time to the morning, where the small electric mouse has a 30% chance of spawning. And while I don't know the exact odds, this will increase them by a decent amount. So after this, I was off, and day 1 was no luck finding the shiny. However, day 2 was a different story, and 1 hour in, I found a shiny patch. Just like the Storavia, I recorded my reaction to this encounter because I genuinely did not know what I would find, and here's the clip. Second mention shiny, let's see what it is. Yeah! Ooh, finally. Oh, nice. I finally found the electric mouse, and I named it Tropic. And with this, I moved on in the game story to defeat Maylene and backtrack to her home city. A secret you probably didn't see in my Legends Arceus video, which by the way, thanks for all the support on that, I really appreciate it, was a shiny Rhyhorn I accidentally found that I just put in the box, and I didn't even talk about it because I wanted to save it for this run. Or that's the story I'm going to go with, since I'm not that smart enough to actually think that far ahead. But after transferring this Rhyhorn into the game, I eventually was able to level him up and evolve him into, wait, what's this Pokemon's name again? Oh, and then Rhyperior. But not after first facing Fantina and overwhelmingly winning, if I do say so myself. But getting Surf made it so I could move to Canleaf City quickly, defeat my rival, and begin my next hunt. Just kidding. I think it's time for more exposition to justify why I didn't do a hunt for this, and sorry about that by the way. But back in 2020, I decided to play Pokemon Go again, and in about December, I found a shiny Squirtle. And in hindsight, I shouldn't have evolved this into a Blastoise, but to give it significance in my living dex, I decided to use this on my team. If you need proof, when I transferred this from Pokemon Go, it was actually only level 24. But I decided to name this Blastoise Raspberry. Wait, raspberries are red. Oops. Well, now I'm not able to change his name since it's from a different game, so just pretend he's a purple raspberry. Like kind of a blackberry, but just not black, purple. This let me defeat Rourke's father easily, and I got to move on to another exposition-filled adventure where I had to defeat Team Galactic at the lakes, including allowing me to get to the next gym leader. Wait, what's her name again? I forget. Let me know in the comments if you know though. Before this battle, I had to get another team member who would hopefully prove to be beneficial. This next hunt is technically more like a hunt through my Pokemon Home save file. So I decided to actually use this shiny Kirlia back in March I found, before the update that patched mouse outbreaks came to be. But just when I was about to deposit it in the game, I actually decided on another team member that I think would be much more interesting to have. Back in the year 2014, to celebrate the release of Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, Game Freak had an event where they gave away a free shiny Beldum, and I never ended up fully evolving it after being a Batang, so coincidentally, it is about the same level as my in-game team at this point. Unfortunately, I was unable to give this Metagross a name, because it was actually originally owned by Steven Stone, so just pretend he's named after the black flavor of Halls. I think it's called Menthol or something like that, just because I was super sick when I completed this part of the game. But if you think it's unfair for me to use this Metagross, I was actually also considering using a shiny Deoxys, but I think I'll save that for another video in the future. When I concluded my battle with this unnamed gym leader, I just stormed Team Galactic's headquarters, climbed Mount Coronet, and eventually reached the climax of the game, battling and easily defeating Cyrus along with the other two because, like, just look at their teams. Like, it wasn't really the hardest, if I do say so myself, especially with, like, a Metang or a Metagross at this point. But this, however, leads to my next hunt. Okay, I'm so sorry, I'm just kidding. I'm currently filming this video in October, and basically on a race against the clock since Scarlet and Violet are just around the corner, and I want to get this out before then. That's why I won't do anything for this last spot, because I also like how this team is looking going into the endgame so far. But to stick to the badge quest, I chose to evolve a random Magby I found in Legends Arceus into a Magmar, just to complete my shiny living dex. I'll skip through talking about all the story elements like beating Volkner and going through Victory Road to get to the part where you all want to see. So now it's time to face the Elite Four, using my team of Wintergreen the Sceptile, Bubblegum the Crobat, Tropic the Rodent, Cinnamon the Rhyperior, Raspberry the Blastoise, and Metagross the Metagross. You probably noticed the theme of the naming scheme I had for this. I didn't really mention this in the video, but these are all just flavors of gum and any other types of mints that people use. And I'm going to be speeding up the footage for these battles to be in kind of like a time-lapse style to show these fights off. And like, here's what I mean with the berry fight. And just like that, 4096 was beaten. I defeated the odds. And yes, that's the only reason why I named him 4096, just to say that. But now it's officially time to enter the Elite Four. After defeating the final member, Lucian, I went into the Cynthia battle with no prior planning, and made it all the way to her Garchomp, before she, unfortunately, swept the rest of my team, so it's rewind time, and also time for me to think of a strategy. Even though I was planning on using the set battle style for this entire battle, I chose instead to cheat and use switch style just to make things a little bit easier. And I also decided to switch up the moveset of my Crobat and give him the move Toxic. I think you know where I'm going with this, but I decided to begin the Cynthia battle knowing that this would be the last time I used this team that I've grown pretty attached to. Unlike an 8-year-old spamming revives, I managed to defeat Cynthia on my second try. I had a lot of fun doing this run. Even though I was unable to do it the proper way considering doing from the very beginning, I always planned on using Sceptile, Crobat, and the mouse. I just haven't used the name of for the entire video. But I was also planning on using a Houndoom, a Gastrodon, and a Medicham to round out my team. But I guess I'll just have to do a proper run at a later time. I also want to take this opportunity to once again say thank you so much for all the support on my videos. I think with this recent Pokemon content support, I'm probably going to follow that route and hopefully become a PokeTuber. Maybe I'll even reach 500 subscribers by the end of the year. While I don't expect to, I feel like that'd just be an interesting surprise. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in the future. Pineapple.